Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. I have to be honest, I'm not really happy about making what are fundamentally fairly negative videos at this point regarding certain policies that have been promulgated here in Thailand and how they're having an impact on both the tourism sector and the expat world at large here in Thailand. Frankly, I don't want to be making the videos. My hope is in making them that folks that are in a policy-making position kind of see the light and we start seeing things sort of turn around. I've seen that occur in the past, so I don't think that's a completely naive presumption to make. So I thought of making this video after reading a comment on our channel, and normally I wouldn't read a comment like this. It's a little bit more cynical than I would like to quote, but it brings up some good points, and for lack of better terms, some maybe learning curve points worth noting. Quoting directly, it's going to be Thailand's loss, and this was in prior videos where we've been talking about things like, tax policy having a negative impact on people being here, banking policy, tightening up on retirement visa rules, tightening up on banking rules, just generally speaking, in my opinion, bringing in a lot of undue foreign influence into a lot of aspects of Thai policy making, most notably from the World Economic Forum and all of this OECD nonsense. But we're seeing it now playing out, and I'm hoping some of this will get turned around if once it's seen that, look, this is not going to be good. I'm really worried about this upcoming high season. It's concerning to me. That said, quoting from the comment here, it's going to be Thailand's loss whilst they're farking around like a bunch of Muppets. And again, I don't like that kind of phraseology. I don't think that's what's going on. Frankly, I think oftentimes policymakers really are trying to operate in good faith. Unfortunately, organizations like the World Economic Forum, who we did the videos, the prime minister, former or whatever, the suspended prime minister, had them to the purple room, and had discussions with these folks. These people's motives are not good, and I don't think that they're good for Thailand. That said, I don't really like the phraseology. Quoting further, making it harder to visit and stay a few months, competitors like Vietnam and Cambodia are making it easier to visit and stay. Example, in my hometown of Melbourne, the Thai embassy has closed. You now have to send your passport to Canberra to get a tourist visa. Non-immigrant and tourist visa multi-entry are now $400, which is the price of an airfare. Most people just say, "Fark it," and take 30 days in Thailand and then go to Cambodia or Vietnam for a few months. Thailand is reaping what it has sown. People have options and are now using them. Again, I would have probably put it differently, but they're good points. And I'm really worried about Thai policymakers overlooking this, especially moving into high season, that look, I don't know what the reasoning is. I've done a video recently where I was debunking the notion that there's some sort of conspiracy against Western expats. And I stand by that. I don't think that that's really going on, but I also don't think policymakers are really seeing the bigger picture that implementing this stuff is going to drive away a major subsection of overall GDP here in Thailand. As we noted in prior videos, especially back during COVID, tourism makes up about 18% of GDP, and COVID went in and literally decimated that. I did the videos at the time. It went down to like 1.8% of GDP. I mean, a literal decimation. And look, going into this high season where, policies like reversing cannabis policy, really without any, in my opinion, proper due legislative process, and doing it in such a way that it happens sort of overnight, and folks that put in money, time, effort, investment into those businesses. Also, that was something that was drawing in a certain segment of tourists. To just reverse that sort of arbitrarily and capriciously, I think that's going to have a negative impact on tourism. Meanwhile, all this stuff having to do with everybody worried about how much time they need to spend in Thailand because they're worried about tax policies. Folks worried about visas because, this online digitized system, frankly, it's like neo-Sovietism. I mean, it's just in a digital format. It's difficult to use. There have been some good things, basically expanding the exemption status from 30 to 60 days was a good idea. That said, now they're talking about rolling that back. I mean, across the board, it seems like at best policy is somewhat schizophrenic, and when it's not, it's kind of consistently not in favor of bringing in foreigners. And I can understand there may be certain policies that they don't want undesirable foreigners and things of this nature, but at this point it's scaring folks away. And I'm really hoping we see some things turn around on this in coming days and weeks as policymakers see that, hey, we're looking down the barrel of a high season here, especially sitting here in a really low season. And all of these policies have an impact. This isn't like 20 years ago when things that kind of happen in Thailand, it doesn't really get out to the rest of the world. They don't really know what's going on. There's YouTubers everywhere out here. There's social media influencers everywhere out here. They're talking about every little policy and nitpicking every little thing. That video, I had to do a debunking video on about the conspiracy against Western expats. I mean, that got a huge amount of coverage. That was why I did a video on it, because I got so many emails saying, hey, you need to talk about this because people are freaking out. And look, I can see why. I don't think there is a concerted effort in policymaking circles here in Thailand to be anti-foreigner per se. But a lot of these different policies in the aggregate are adding up to a situation where it's making Thailand less desirable as a destination for travelers, long and short term, compared to other destinations in Southeast Asia. And my hope is cooler heads prevail in policymaking circles and we see some of this stuff turn around so that going into high season we can be optimistic rather than where we're at sort of right now sitting here in July wondering, are we even going to have a high season?